One.
Welcome back to the Backyard Quarterbacks, guys. We had some technical difficulties and some other things get in the way of last week, so we know you're looking forward to the episode. Sorry we didn't put it out, but we've gotten tons of messages and phone calls and emails and even some faxes from people that were saying, hey, put out another show, So I'm Adam Clifton, representing the Jaguars. We're going to hop into that later. We got Ryan Hartle in the FSU gear, and then Tyler Russ still wearing the Gator gear.
Yeah,
that's impressive.
I will always represent.
So we've had a couple weeks to talk about. We'll try to talk about the 2 weeks ago pretty quick, and then we'll get into the others. But Tyler, how you feeling, man?
I feel all right. This wasn't a year where going into it, we really expected that we were going to do too much. I think everybody pretty much projected us to be fourth in the SEC East. So, I mean, we got a little overhyped after the Utah game this season to be able to start out that way. And Anthony Richardson, at least he looked good with his legs and then did enough with his passing to think that if that's kind of where we start, then this could be pretty exciting. But that quickly changed over the next week with Kentucky, which we had talked about on the last one. And then talking about USF, that USF game where USF comes into Gainesville and really runs it down Florida's throat, and almost came away with a win, ended 31-28. Trying to go off memory here because I definitely wasn't trying to go back and watch too many highlights of that game throughout this past week. But, honestly, USF probably should have won that game. They had that snap over the quarterback's head at the end. And then they ended up, I believe, missing the field goal. Yeah, that's right. They had that 48-yard field goal where he almost made it, even with the fumbled handle there.
Yeah.
I managed to almost make that field goal. So that was impressive. But luckily the Gators were able to sneak out of there. But AR again did not look good in that USF game. So it was really getting kind of concerning with I wasn't thinking that Utah was going to be the ceiling for AR. And so it was starting to look that way. Then here we go up to Tennessee, not feeling too good. The spread was 10.5, I believe you said, Adam.
Yep.
And so Gators were able to cover the spread. I think, what were they within 4? Let's see, I got the flip over there. Yeah, 38-33. So lost by 5. Actually had a chance there at the end. They recovered the onside kick and just couldn't get in the end zone after that. But AR had a much better performance. It was over 400 passing. I want to say somewhere in the 450
he finally
range
threw a touchdown this year.
He did, and I tell you what, man, his tight end really wanted that touchdown pass for him because he really had to fight through some tackles to get there. But yeah, at least that stat's behind him now. I don't know that he's going to have too many touchdown passes this season. We just don't have the wide receivers that can take the top off the defense, and then we don't really have that guy in the red zone who you can just depend on to go up and get that ball. So I imagine that most of our touchdowns are probably going to have to be running, and even Anthony Richardson running. Maybe he could be that threat that opens somebody up, but I think it's going to be tough for him to get too many passing touchdowns this season. So, he's only got 1, and we're 4 games in.
And I thought he had 2.
But no, he's got a 2-point conversion. I don't think he got.
I thought he had 2.
I don't believe you guys.
I thought he had 2 yesterday. I could be wrong.
Yeah, he had 2. He
did get 2?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
I mean, Tyler, I don't blame you. With the way that game was going, I wouldn't have watched it either.
I mean, I tried to go back and watch the replays and stuff. But,
yeah.
You can't always.
No,
we got our softball. My daughter's softball practices are on Sundays right after church. So we got a full Sunday.
Yeah.
We jump on here, and we'd like to do these podcasts on Sunday
night. Yeah, of course. Yeah, man, after that Utah game, obviously, me and Hartle, a lot of times we're gassing it up as FSU fans, they shouldn't have been ranked. It doesn't matter that y'all beat a ranked team. Y'all still suck, this, that, and the other. And, and then the USF game was close. And then it's you guys almost kind of look like back. You haven't made any improvement from last year. Obviously as a Gator fan, that's got to be disheartening. I don't know who all these people are that have been gassing up AR-15 over the last 2 years. Maybe he develops over the next few games or whatever, but it's just been bad. Obviously, we didn't find out. I don't think until after the last game. He basically got an injury where he stayed in the game, but he wasn't able to be mobile. This game he had a pretty good game. This game actually, two
Yeah.
touchdowns. I think he had a fumble that he lost, but I mean, you can't win games when you're letting your defense just do that.
Yeah,
So
and the fumble, and it's a legal play, but the fumble he lost. I mean, I think he got tackled around the neck. I mean, that's a pretty rough tackle.
could
I've
have
seen
easily been
guys.
called like a horse collar or something. Yeah.
I don't. I mean, I guess it's a legal tackle because I've seen. I remember playing Georgia one time, and there was a player, and I can't remember if it was Callaway or another really good player for us that got tackled by the neck and taken down. And legal tackle, but it took him out of the game. So I've seen it a few times, and I guess it's not viewed the same as a horse collar. But I mean, it's a pretty rough way if somebody really gets right around your neck to get brought down. So
I
I
agree.
don't fault him too much for that. For that fumble and the interception that he had at the end of the game, and was a desperation attempt because it was the last play. So yeah, overall he had a pretty good game, even though those things probably look bad in the stat line.
Yeah.
Especially when you add them to the other interceptions that he's had this season, the other turnovers. But yeah, he did what he needed to do to win the game. It was a defense that just could not stop Tennessee at all, and it looks like that's kind of going to be our big issue this year. Is we got to have a defense that can stop these offenses. If our offense is going to have a chance, they can't have to be perfect every game in order to win. And we get into the meat of our schedule and start playing some really good teams.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it kind of
we
seems
gotta have a
like
good defense.
y'all are in every game, and with FSU glasses, you almost lose every game too. But I mean, it doesn't
Yeah.
matter who you
Yeah.
play, if they're ranked or not. I definitely see y'all beating a team that you have no business in beating. Also, it's just kind of like when y'all are
Utah.
clicking. Yeah. But I mean, y'all going to be a difficult team. I mean, new coaching staff, and it's just kind of, we've been through 3 coaches within the last 5 years. So, just those early games are just kind of, it's hard to determine,
Mhm.
Appalachian State beating Texas A&M, then Texas A&M beats, everybody else, or look at
Yeah.
Miami losing to Middle Tennessee State. It's just so crazy early on, and it's almost like I don't even know what's going on with all these like upsets and stuff. Like, is it like coaching schemes are just that good? Like that, it's just weird. And I know Florida State, we've had that in the past where we were the 5th team in the country, and we talked about last time, go to play Louisville on a Thursday night and lose. Like, it's just it's this feeling of like, after the first couple drives go, or maybe even the first quarter, and you're just like, this ain't feeling good.
Yeah.
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 It's just been a kind of wacky college football to start, I would say. But I don't think you really hang your y'all's head. I mean, yeah, what was y'all's record last year? 6-7 after the bowl game. So
After the bowl game, yeah.
I mean, you kind of hope for stay competitive in every game. I mean, it's not like the team's quitting and this and that. Like, I think you're all going to start figuring it out. But yeah, you're going to have some tough games, but you start winning a couple of those games you're not supposed to win. And I think
Hopefully
you're
that
not in a
last game of the
bad,
regular
yeah.
season is going to be that game that we win. We're not supposed to win.
Florida State will be undefeated at that time, number 1 in the
Right, there you go.
country.
There you go. Florida comes in with like 4 or 5 losses. It wouldn't be unheard of.
Yeah.
In this rivalry.
So who's y'all's next game?
So next game we get a little bit of a break,
Gimme.
and hopefully now with AR playing better. I believe it's Eastern Washington.
It
I
is
believe,
Eastern
so
Washington.
I don't have the schedule up in front of me, but so we get a little bit of a break, and hopefully we can get out there and score some points and hold the team to very little.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah. It should be a
hopefully-
gimme. And then after that, you guys got Missouri, and then you got LSU. which,
Oh, wow.
they're a really tough. LSU is a really tough team. Their record might not show it, but they're really hard to beat.
Very difficult team,
Yeah.
and it's amazing if anybody that can beat them. So
Yeah.
uh,
One thing, I don't know if you noticed, Harl, you might have noticed this. Billy Napier was fired up on the sideline yesterday, man.
Yeah, yeah.
Looking
I don't
like
know.
old
I went
Steve
back and
Spurrier
watched
back
like
there.
what you said, calling him that. What he did was very timid. I mean, 4 coaches holding him back was like excessive.
Right,
Like
yeah,
really,
Yeah,
I mean,
yeah.
like he was not trying that hard to get out there on that field, and he was annoyed that like the review was taking so long.
I feel like I was watching
So.
Last Chance U from Netflix.
Right. Hey, look, that's one of those things. I've seen Nick Saban go wild.
Oh yeah,
on
Yeah,
the
lose his
yeah.
sideline.
absolute.
So it's one of those things where it's like, if you win, if you're a winner and you get out there and you win a bunch of games, then that stuff doesn't matter. It's when you're losing when stuff like that matters, because it just
Yeah.
looks that much worse. And if he ends up being a winner at Florida, he'll be allowed to do stuff like that. Nobody's gonna really say
Yeah,
too
for
much.
sure.
Yeah.
I agree 100%.
But if he's a loser, then it's gonna be like, one more thing that they talk about
Yeah.
is embarrassing for him.
Yeah, I agree 100%. Hardle, you wanna or Tyler, before we move on to Florida State, you got anything you want to add or cover before we go over to the next team for Florida?
No, I mean, what our season's going to be the rest of the season is hopefully AR is kind of, figured it out, and he stays healthy, and then he looks more like the Tennessee game. I'm not saying that I expect him to throw 450 passing yards each game, 2 touchdowns, but just closer to that than the way he was looking at the USF game and the Kentucky game. But our defense is going to struggle, and you can see that USF game. Ventrell Miller's out. Teams going to be able to run up their middle on us, no problem. If he's in there, we do a little bit better. So hopefully we stay healthy on defense so we can stay competitive.
Yeah.
But it's going to be rough if we start to lose guys on that defense.
Yeah.
And going up against these better, especially a team like Georgia.
One thing before we move on, kind of because I guess we're on the Tennessee topic. Tennessee beating Florida yesterday, and then another Tennessee team beating the other team that me and Ryan and millions of FSU fans hate. Yeah, so Tennessee got it done yesterday.
Yeah, Tennessee had a good week.
And I think the Middle Tennessee State coach, like in his press conference, mentioned something, because I think he's an old FSU quarterback or something.
Yeah, Rick Stockwell,
I think.
His name. Yeah.
He mentioned something in the press conference after, like, hey, yeah, we beat them for you guys or whatever. Hartle. So 2 weeks ago, we played. Who did we play?
Louisville.
Louisville. So, and going into that game the week before, I remember you were like, we're coming off of a win, 2-0, and you're like, I can see us losing this game, or it's be really close, or a lot closer than I thought it would be. And then the game plan was, slow that quarterback down. He's a beast. I wouldn't say he's quite Lamar Jackson, but he's a beast. Cunningham. He had a pretty good game. He threw for 243. He ran for 127. It came down to the wire. We won that game. Anything specific about that game that you want to mention? I know we obviously don't want to spend too much time on it because it was 2 weeks ago.
Yeah, I mean, the main thing to me is just like us talking the last 2 podcasts. It's just like, listen, if Jordan Travis goes down, that's the end of our season. And not only that, it's just like we've had so many injuries. We've already lost 3 offensive linemen. There's 2 defensive linemen missing, like key players. Lovett, number 0 defensive tackle, and then Verse, who now sounds like he's gonna come back. I feel like they don't tell anybody any type of information anymore about these injuries unless they're out for the season. They just kind of keep it hush hush, but he seems like it's the real deal. Just he was part of the blocking kicks at LSU and getting sacks, and it's like, wow, this guy's gonna play in the NFL. So when he went down first,
he's a beast.
I was very upset. I'm just like, because it looked like a season-ending injury. That knee kind of buckled. It was a friendly fire. Deloach, a linebacker, came in and hit him right there, where it kind of just looked like the knee just shook to the right. So I got really upset with that, and I don't even know who I was texting. I was like, well, now Jordan Travis is gonna go out like as a
Yeah.
joke, and like 5 plays later, he's out of the game.
Yeah.
I got filled up with so much like negative emotion and just like so mad that our
Which
season
is
was
so unlike
already
you.
our season was already over, because that's how like we
Yeah. And
talked
you
about
mentioned it.
this.
Yeah. Yeah.
So it's just like we're done. Tate Rodemaker throws an interception before halftime, and I quit watching the game. I was like, I was so upset. Like, I don't even want to see this guy running all over us. I don't want to see some 45-24 final score, and we look like we've done the past so many years. So I actually went and went to bed, woke up, had to use the restroom. It was like 11:11. I opened my phone up and it had 50 million text messages,
Yeah. You had a
and
lot from us, and me specifically in our group. Yeah.
it was 5 minutes left, and I saw that we were winning 35-31. I'm just like, if I start watching this game, we lose. Like, I debated even watching it then, and then I just
Right.
couldn't help myself. I was like, all right, I'll watch it. But to me, it's just like it's been just a storybook opening. We hadn't had this much positivity or just like success in a long time. So to have Tate Rodemaker come out in the second half, you know, did what
Not
he
lose
needed to
it.
do.
Yep.
Yes. We had Johnny um Wilson, Johnny Wilson, a 6'7"
Oh, 6'7". Yep.
wide
Yeah.
receiver, just like go off. And man, it's just really nice to see that win. You still don't know who Florida State is at that point, but you did have this feeling of just like Norvell figured it out again. Like, but we still didn't know how long Travis was going to be out. Still haven't
Yeah.
heard about Verse. So going into this Boston College game, you just still didn't feel like, oh, it's a gimme. Now, Boston College is not a good team. I don't even know if Louisville's a good team. I don't even know LSU's a good team. Duquesne is definitely not a good team. So we did what we were supposed to do. But when's the last time we could say that? It's been
Yeah.
so long. So it just feels really good. And I'll just go back to just winning's contagious. I mean, you get the opening kickoff for a touchdown. The place is rocking. It's the first sellout in 5 years. It was parents' weekend, so I think that had some help to it. But you just the buzz, and then a couple plays later, we get an interception. We're in scoring
Yep.
position, score again, 14-0, like 10, 12 minutes. And it's just like, it just went our way the whole day. And we just keep getting these new names. Like, I don't even know who Darion Williams is, but here comes this wide receiver, gets 5 catches and 98 yards.
Darion Williamson. Yeah.
I mean, I don't even know his name, which I
Right.
mispronounced everybody's
Yeah.
name. But
Yeah.
but I mean, it's no really too much to like dig in. Like, I think us being 4-0, 2 wins away from a bowl eligibility, be happy, enjoy it. Is this weight game winnable? I think it can be. I mean, it's going to be a sold out crowd again. The place is going to be rocking. But then again, how they perform against Clemson, the number 5 team in the country, they
Yeah.
could have won that game. They won in double
Easily.
overtime.
Yep.
So and this Hartline, or what's the quarterback's name for Wake? If you can look that up for me, he's got like he's the active leader in like almost every passing category. He's got over 70 something touchdowns. Hartline maybe, but they look good. They got some receivers on there. It was just like
Sam Hartman. Yeah. I
Hart,
mean, yesterday he was 20 for 29, 337 yards, 6 touchdowns, no picks. So, I mean, like,
yeah, and it was crazy because a couple of them plays I saw, like, they just had this pocket around him, and he would run up like the guy has no fear. I mean, he just runs up and then he'll throw. So it almost looks like he's about to take off running or something, but he's throwing, and they're all like deep passes. I mean,
Yeah.
I don't know. I'm interested. But we're so banged up, but we keep winning. I'm just kind of like, when's this, when's the clock strike
When the
12
injuries
and
gonna catch up and all this stuff.
you're right,
Yeah.
right. This storytelling season ends and we're like, back
Yeah.
to reality.
Well, yeah. And then, I mean, so the AP came out today. So, I mean, I know we're only like in the top 25, but that's the number we should have. We're 4-0. We're back, baby. Yeah. So, but yeah, so what's good about this, and like this, we should have won all 4 of those first games, and we did. And then like it's nice that we're beating, like the Louisville game obviously was a little touch and go, but I think they're better than Boston College. But in years past in Boston College, we might have beat Boston College, but it might have been 35-31 or like 21-14 or something, where you're just like, yeah, we won that game, but like that should have been like a blowout. So it was nice to see that. I couldn't help but think, like, right when the kickoff happened, which that was the first running touchdown or kickoff return we've had, I think, since 2013,
National
probably when
championship
Kermit
game.
Whitfield.
It was actually January
then-
6th, 2014, Jameis's birthday.
Right, the 2013 season though, right?
Yeah.
So yeah, it was nice. And then I was texting in the group. I'm like, man, I have a feeling we're gonna be ranked, but I don't even want to be ranked.
I don't
just because
either.
the next few games, the next few games we have, like, and I don't want it just for a week and then they just take it back.
Yeah.
So yeah, we got Wake coming up, then we play Clemson. Who's the other big game that we play?
NC State. So yeah, NC State's 10, Wake State at
NC State's
22, Clemson's 5.
Yeah, so I mean that's a tough 3 weeks, but it's showing that Norvell is able to develop the quarterback position, and that if the offensive line and defensive line, we mentioned that coming into this year, you specifically a lot, like if we can get them to where they're good and they provide time for Jordan Travis, and the defense isn't letting up these huge gains, it'll be nice to see what can happen. So I mean, it's finally nice to see it being put together. But yeah, I mean, so we kind of, you also mentioned this kind of before we record. So 1 and 2 over the next 3 would be amazing, I think.
Yeah.
If we go, if we win one of those, and then we're still, then we're like 5 and 2. Maybe still
Wake,
ranked.
and who?
So Clemson, Wake, and NC State, who's ranked number 10.
It's the gauntlet this year for ACC.
Yeah, it is.
Especially now that Miami fell off, so those are the main 3.
We're all kind of
teams
playing
probably.
each other at the same time. This past week was the Wake and Clemson
Wake
game.
just played Clemson. Yep.
This week is the Clemson NC State game.
Yeah.
And then we're playing Wake, and then after that we're playing Clemson. We do have a bye week to prepare for the Clemson game. We go 3-0 in that span.
Well-timed bye week.
Yeah, definitely.
For Clemson.
We go 3-0. We're talking mad crap. We back, baby. Like, we probably have to end the podcast because how arrogant we'll get.
Yeah.
That's just ain't gonna happen. We go 2-1. Oh man, I'm still almost on that level. Like, holy cow. 1 and 2, I think, is probably realistic. I think I want to say the most winnable game out of the 3 would be Wake, just because we'll be at home. I don't know. This is going to be difficult. But you're blessed if you play Florida State early, because I mean, you look at LSU, they're on a 3-game win streak. You look at Louisville, they slacked USF.
They slaughtered, USF.
It's almost like you play Florida State, you're like, I want to be like those guys. Like undefeated, I want to play. They play football the right way.
I'll say, I told when we didn't have the podcast, I talked to Ryan about it. I was like, I mean, well, we played USF, we had a close game. Obviously, we played terrible, but and then FSU played Louisville. And that was a close game, and then they both played each other the next week. So it's like, okay, it'd be interesting to kind of see how the two of us compare. And then Louisville, like smoking USF. I mean, it was like I turned it on after you said it. They were, I think, 14-0, and it was just
Yeah.
that was so
Yeah,
dominant.
they had no answer for that
It wasn't even
offense
close.
whatsoever.
I think the
Yeah.
last
Well,
thing.
but I mean, but then they just kept they what go 3 and out. I mean, they would not have the ball very long, and I would look away and look back, and Louisville's got the ball again. So I was like, man, this is not looking good. Luckily, Florida came out and had a better game against Tennessee. Otherwise, I was feeling like, man, this is awful. Like we are looking so bad. If this is the team that USF is,
Yeah.
but luckily we had a better game. We feel a little bit better, but there's still a lot to play. We'll figure out, who we are, if Tennessee game was a fluke, or if USF and Kentucky is more of what we are.
The last thing I want
Even
to
though we
touch up
lost in
on
the Tennessee game.
for the FSU is just like, if you told me we were 4-0 to start the season off, I'll be like, well, they should be, look at the schedule, blah, blah, blah. But you told me that what Jordan Travis has done these last 4 games, like I would have thought that he might have had like, over 100 yards rushing every game, and just he's making the passes we need, but he looks like a freaking quarterback. Like I have never I think he only has like 34 rushing yards on the season. Like he's not trying to run. He can't run now. I mean, he kind of has his ankle issue, which he did take off for a 25-yard run and was able to kind of put his foot in the ground. I don't know what kind of medication they're stuck him in with to give him that courage, but
they gave him that treatment that they gave him in Varsity Blues.
Yeah. Or Terrell Owens when the Super Bowl in Jacksonville.
Oh yeah, when he came, he was like after halftime, he's like, all right, let me go off for like 100 yards and 2 touchdowns.
With like a broke ankle or leg, or I can't remember what it was, but I'm just amazed. Seeing him perform like that, it does give you hope with Wake. So I think I wanted to be a close game. I mean, if we lost by that Tennessee Florida score at 38-33, I think we're not hanging our heads down. We're kind of like, hey, we fought, we had a chance to win, blah, blah, blah. But it's exciting times. Enjoy it. But we'll see who's the real Florida State fans after these next 3 weeks.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, I'll say from an outside perspective, I didn't watch too much of y'all last year. But I, watching the Florida, and what I remember from the Florida State game last year was he went out a couple of times. I think he was hurt in that game, and but I do remember when he was in there, he was so deadly with those legs. I mean, y'all almost won that game because of his legs, and he made some good passes, but the threat was those legs, and it opened up that passing lane. So to watch him this year and really see that he's doing it mostly all with his arm and throwing and being very accurate. I mean, I know y'all are trying to be, cautious, you don't want to get too excited, but I got to admit, just as somebody watching, I'm like, man, I remember watching, Jameis Winston, and y'all started that game out with Pitt and thinking like, okay, you can try to excuse it and say that, okay, Pitt's not that good, but what was he like?
25 and 27.
I mean, something insane. Is like
2
it doesn't matter,
incompletions, and they both were caught. It just they couldn't get the foot down. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, it was incredible, and I was like, gosh, as much as I want to just like say Pitt sucks and that's what this is, like, no, man, that was impressive, and this guy's good, and I hope he doesn't stay there very long. And he was there 2 years ago, so he looks good. And there's just something to that when your quarterback can look as good as he's looked these first 4 games of the season. So
you guys heard it here first, by the way,
game
on the Backyard Quarterback
against Wake.
Gator fans saying Jordan Travis is the second coming of Jameis Winston. So
GOAT.
thank you, Tyler, for clearing that up.
Not quite saying that.
Speaking of,
he hasn't given you the headaches that Jameis Winston gave you guys while he was there. So you at least got him on there.
Give me the headaches and the natty, man. Speaking
we
of
murderers on our team, and I wouldn't take away those. I wouldn't take away those national championships.
Speaking of Terrell Owens, Eagles, I can't help but stop thinking about Doug Peterson. So
Yeah.
to the Jaguars.
Yeah, let's go. What is
I
going
think
on?
the toughest decision I'm going to have this year is, do I spend the money and go to a national championship for Florida State, or do I go to the Super Bowl in Arizona? Like, that's how hyped I am and excited about this. So, yeah, the Jaguars, man, we got another win. Trevor Lawrence looked finally like throughout the
The
entire
guy we
game.
drafted, yeah.
The guy we drafted, no bonehead plays. Like, he played pretty well. James Robinson, the best value of possible. You know, you pick this guy up off the side of the road where, you know, obviously he played college, but he's amazing. ETN finally like showed like what he can do.
I wouldn't say finally.
He's
He's shown sparks of it too.
yeah, but
throughout the season, but he went off a little bit.
yeah. I think that the first game of the year, he fumbled like maybe once, and it looked like Doug Peterson kind of held him out from that. But yeah, ETN is the player that we thought Chenault was going to be, and obviously Chenault didn't do anything, and he's out of here. But great game, man. It's always nice to get a win. So, yeah, it was awesome, man. I saw a crazy stat. It said I don't know if I sent it to you guys. It said Doug Peterson with 2 wins now is the 5th all-time lead, tied for 5th all-time lead as Jaguar coaches for most wins. So that tells you the state of the Jacksonville Jaguar program. Yeah. So amazing game, man. Our defense looks great. You know, Trayvon Walker, just he looks like every game, you know, that was a good first round pick, which, you know, we have a huge habit of just blowing that first round pick.
We got 2 of them.
Yeah, I'm
Lloyd,
ecstatic.
linebacker Lloyd's been killing it from Utah.
Yep.
I mean, interceptions galore, knocking passes down, and it seems like he's always at the right spot.
Yeah, he had a couple of those today, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So super exciting. Obviously, it's always nice to beat a team out in LA, which I think we talked about this several times last year. When we go out west, we always have a tough time. But yeah, so Trevor Lawrence, 28 for 39, 262 yards, 3 touchdowns, no interceptions. James Robinson rushed for over 100, ETN 45. Yeah, so great game. I mean, it's nice.
It's exciting.
I'm not the Florida State fan that wishes Gators lose, because also, like, I don't think it matters this year. But when we're both good, I don't want to be playing a shitty Florida team, because that win diminishes us, obviously. But I mean, like, if for most Florida State fans that are in Jacksonville, this was like the trifecta. Yeah, everything you wanted to happen in football happened, unless you just have like some crazy bets. But yeah, Florida lost, FSU won. They're 4-0 for the first time in God knows how long. And then, you know, Jaguars look like they have it going. And not only is it a win, but we're moving the ball consistently, like, throughout the entire game. And we kind of showed that last game as well. Like, usually every play is just like, oh, run up the middle, no yards. Oh, pass for 3 yards. So Doug Peterson seems like he's able to put it together. And obviously we have a lot more talent than last year, you know, on the defensive side and with ETN. Hartle, what did you like about the game today?
Yeah, I mean, I'm kind of just watching the game, like, jaw dropped. Like, I you know, the end of the first quarter was 0-0 still. We're about to score. And it's like, man, I hope the game continues to go like this, because what I've seen here, like, we were stopping them. I was like, this could be a winnable game. And then we started out with a couple field goals. I'm like, Justin Herbert's been pretty major when it comes to, like, scoring touchdowns. He had 5,000 yards passing last year. So, like, even if the fourth quarter's coming, you're up by 10, it's just like, it can kind of evaporate real quick. I don't know what the heck's going on. I mean, the 24-0, this is how I looked at it. I was like, I think the NFL fans of other teams, they probably saw that Colts game and was just like, oh, wow. Well, Chargers versus Jacksonville, I'm sure like 90-something% of everybody picked the Chargers to win. And then we go and slack them at home 38-10. There's 2 things I think. I think with the Colts, they were missing Michael Pittman, which is a huge receiver for them. we were able to kind of put all our focus on Jonathan Taylor, who led the NFL in rushing last year. So we really took him out the game and had Matt Ryan throw to wide receivers I've never even heard of before. So I can
Right.
see people kind of like, well, you probably won because of this. And then with Justin Herbert, he has like cracked cartilage in his ribs.
Yeah.
I think I saw him, grimace a couple times when he got knocked down or sacked or whatever. But I'm sure well, Justin Herbert just came back from that injury. You didn't even know if he was going to play, and then it was like a game time decision. Then he came out, and he just didn't look like himself. So I'm really interested about next week. The whole Doug Peterson going
going
back
back
to
to Philly. They're
yeah.
3-0.
They're looking nice, especially
Yep.
Jalen
Yeah.
Hurts. He's doing his whole. Seems like every time he scores, he's just sitting there.
Yeah.
Well,
Yeah.
but he has some swag to him. So it's gonna be interesting. We haven't really played a running quarterback. Carson Wentz, old behind Matt Ryan, and then Justin Herbert. I mean, he wasn't going to run
He
with
can
his
take off,
ribs.
but that's not.
Yeah.
That's not his like first thing that he does. Yeah.
So
Yeah, I
Especially on those,
agree.
rib issues.
Yeah, I think our defense though, man, we got the,
they look
we can
nice.
kind of mitigate that run, man, with the Philadelphia, with Jalen, and then you got Josh Allen, Trayvon. I think the defense is really clicking on all cylinders. So
Mhm.
hopefully they'll be able to, keep it winnable next week and not let it get out of hand at the half to where we're down by 2 touchdowns and
Yeah,
we're
I
playing,
think
because I don't think we're
that's
that type of team yet where we're like a comeback,
yeah,
like
right.
we're not coming back down 21-0 or 21 28-7. That we're not there yet, so we just
Yeah.
got to keep it manageable and not let it get out of hand.
How many different guys caught touchdown passes today? Because I know we
3.
had Ingram, we had Kirk, and then who's the
Yeah,
other
so
one? Jones.
yeah,
That was
Jones.
it.
And then, James
wasn't
ran
Yeah.
one
anybody
in.
else?
Robinson ran a touchdown in.
Yeah. Yeah,
There was one
Zay
more.
Jones was our leading receiver with 85 yards, 10 receptions, and a touchdown.
Huge
Kirk,
game.
he looked great today too. 6 for 72, and then Marvin Jones, as well.
He had a
Okay.
touchdown
Oh, Ingram had the 2-point
out of bounds.
2-point conversion.
Yeah, he had a
Yeah,
2-point conversion.
Yep.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah,
Well, it's nice to just see. Like, we had a bunch of guys catching balls and making big plays and stuff. That's what I was really excited about. Because when's the last time that the Jags have had that? It's been a while, I feel like. So, and then obviously the running game, to add to that. So, I mean, I saw a fun team to watch today, and that's what I was most excited about because it's been a long time since we've had both sides of the field. They could put out a fun product to watch,
Yeah.
And something to get excited for. So we've had many years where the defense was just dominant. The offense couldn't do much. We had a few years where we had a good offense. I don't know if I can really remember years we had good offense, but I guess 1 year for Bortles.
Yeah, and then he got that
Yeah.
contract.
Yeah. And so to see us kind of put it together and we look like a complete team, it's early. It's only 3 games in, but I'm excited. I'm excited for the Jags. I can't wait to watch this year. I look forward to watching them on Sundays now. It's been a while. So it's exciting.
I kind of feel like Trevor Lawrence, like, I don't know if our offensive coordinator's calling the plays or Doug Peterson is, or or game plans or whatnot. But I feel like he's putting them in really good positions to succeed. He's not asking them to do too much.
Yeah.
He's not really like, to me, I don't think we've seen anywhere close to the tip of the iceberg of what he can do. But I think he's kind of slow playing it. I mean, if that makes any sense, a lot of the passes are short, intermediate, like, not trying to do any. We don't really throw deep a lot, and I'm fine. I mean, it'll get there.
Mhm.
Yeah.
But I like how he's kind of Because I don't know, the whole Urban year, it was almost like
That don't
stop
count.
letting
Yeah.
them even like do anything. You know what I mean? But I think
Robinson, he had a couple fumbles and he put him out. You know, he didn't see the field for a while.
yeah.
Yeah.
Isn't that how it went early on?
Yeah. Last year.
From
Yeah.
remembering last year, pretty
Yes.
bad.
Yes. That's how it went. Yeah. And then
Oh.
Urban.
Yeah, but I mean,
And then he
if we win,
self-destructed.
Yeah.
if we win this Eagles game, or we like even come close, like
Just
came
make it
down to the
competitive.
2-minute warning, and Jalen Hurts did his magic, and they won the game, field goal, last second touchdown, whatever. I'm feeling really good about this. Is NFL season's weird? The first 4 games, I feel like it's not
Yeah.
really the identity of the team. Like what you see now after 3 games might not be what you see for the rest of the season. And it's just
And
weird. You see those
I think
things.
even more so with a young quarterback also.
Yeah. And then like the bottom of the seasons like that too, where you have these like teams like the Jaguars beating the Colts last year to keep them out of the playoffs. Like
Yeah.
there's these
Yeah.
weird things that happen at the end, but like that 8 weeks right in the middle, I think that kind of really like, unless you have some serious injuries like to your starting quarterback or your offensive line, defensive line gets diminished, you kind of see what your team really is. So not that these aren't anything to brag about or not to be super excited about, but I'm going with caution. I'm not. Yeah, we're gonna beat the Eagles and we're gonna go to the playoffs and all this kind of stuff. But
Right. Yeah.
this
No.
is
Yeah. Not
super
by any. Yeah.
exciting.
Yeah. It's exciting.
Yeah.
2-1.
Yeah.
We're not only are we above 500, we have multiple wins. The good thing is after
Well,
we
those
play
2
the
wins are decisive, and that even against
Yeah,
bad teams or teams that aren't that
Well,
good,
these are
we
great
yeah, the
teams.
NFL's
we have not had
yeah,
that.
and the NFL is not like college, right? Where you're like, oh, I mean, every game,
Yeah.
anything can
Yeah.
happen. I don't care what the spread is. I don't care what the records are. Luckily for us, after whatever happens in that Philadelphia game, after that we got Houston. They don't have a win yet. They got half of a win, which is a tie, and then we got the Colts again. So we got the Colts in Indianapolis, and they're
Headhunting.
1-1. So yeah, right. So I mean, well, at least we got the confidence of, all right, we're going to face Houston. They're not really that good this year, and then you have the confidence of going to play a team that you already beat. Obviously, it's in a different it's away, so it's a different environment. But obviously you're going to be more confident saying, hey, we already beat these guys. Let's just do what we did last time. We're better now than we were that week. So yeah, it's exciting. Yes, I mean, we could even if we lose to Philadelphia, we're 2-2. We win those next 2 games, then we're 4-2. I mean, if you would have told me we'd start off 4-2, which we haven't yet, but it's very likely that could happen, I'd be ecstatic for 4-2.
Yeah, we
Yeah.
just ended our 18-game road losing streak.
Yep.
I mean, like, so I mean, like, let's
Yeah.
get serious. I mean, divisional games, they're
And
not
to win
just
it, and to do that in California,
Yeah.
out west.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, I
yeah,
agree.
I'm pumped. I'm pumped for this season, for the Jags, especially since there's not much to look forward to for the game. I mean, hopefully the Gators can get some wins in, but I'm not, there's no SEC East or anything like that division title to go for.
Yeah,
So,
I mean,
I'm all in on the Jags.
Tyler, this year's already better than last year. Last year, all 3 of our teams sucked the entire year, so we had nothing to look forward to. And we talked about it.
Well, this early, Florida was, I think maybe they had lost to Kentucky, but we were still hopeful.
Yeah.
Yeah, you had that close loss to Alabama, and talking about
close loss to Alabama.
hopefully we can rematch them in the SEC championship game.
Yep.
Yeah.
I love going back and watching that podcast.
Yeah. No, I think we're really gonna turn it around.
I
AR's
mean,
the answer.
we're close. We're there, guys. We're there.
No, I mean, yeah, that looked like that. But yeah, we only got a couple more minutes here, 2 minutes to be exact before we sign out. But yeah, it's exciting, man. Lots of good football this weekend for college and pros. Tyler, obviously, sorry your team lost, but
I
Yeah,
don't know what you guys are
Great
talking about.
weekend for
I'm all
football.
in on this fantasy thing, and I just want to say that my first 2 games were against Adam and Hartle.
and you won. You
And
definitely beat me last
I
week.
beat Adam. And I'm looking pretty good to beat Hartle. He always got to is Russell Wilson, who in the fourth quarter has only got about 5 points. So
well, I do want to let you know that I pay attention to about 20 other leagues before I even look at that one.
I don't need
and-
excuses. I just need everybody to know that I've played Adam and Hartle in the first 2 weeks, and I'm coming out 2-0.
That's true.
So I don't know what
Alright.
college football is. It sounds like it's a game that people play.
Tyler's like, look, I can look. I'm a fantasy football owner and head coach and GM and offensive coordinator. I can't be worried about what's going on in college. Okay,
I got too much else going on.
Tyler, you
to
didn't
be
pay your
worried
dues.
about what some guys in orange and blue are doing down in Gainesville. So
You didn't pay your
that?
dues, so those
I didn't
you're
pay my
0-2
dues.
now. You're forfeited all your wins. Just kidding. It was
I
a
didn't
free
pay the
league.
free dues. We didn't even put anything down.
My time and energy of creating that league. I need to get paid for my services.
That's right. Okay. My
Yeah,
bad. That's
started-
right. I was supposed to be
we-
the only one that paid.
Yeah, we started in week 2. We a lot of people probably did an auto draft. Like, yeah.
Yeah,
Well, I'll tell you what. A girl at work. Shout out Sarah. Girl
Hey
at work
Sarah,
behind
we know
me.
you listen.
That's right. I know you listen.
Love you, girl.
You don't have anything better to do on a Sunday night or Monday morning to listen to our podcast, but she did the auto draft, and I think she scored like in the tops both weeks for her team. So
She's killing
Nice.
it.
so that makes me feel even better about how good I've done just to go 2-0
Nice.
because I actually try and follow and drafted.
Yeah. All right, guys. Well, yeah, that's our time. Great week for me and Hartle and for Jags fans.
And
Tyler,
In real
looks like-
life games.
Yeah, and Tyler,
In real life, and then me in fantasy.
yeah, keep winning over there in fantasy land. We're going to the national
I
title
will.
and in the Super Bowl here with the Jaguars. All right, guys. Good seeing y'all. Love you guys.
Yeah, man. Love y'all.
Bye, guys.